Welcome to our comprehensive safety training, where safety and knowledge meet to protect lives and environments. The foundation of workplace safety with chemicals is the right to know. Under laws like the Occupational Health and Safety Act, employers must perform a hazard identification and risk assessment, or HIRA, to scientifically evaluate risks posed by chemicals. Once completed, they're legally obligated to share these findings with you, the employees. This includes understanding the difference between regular chemicals and hazardous ones, recognizing physical and health hazards, knowing how exposure happens, whether through inhalation, skin contact, or ingestion, and assessing the risks. We'll also cover control measures, warning signs, and the importance of reporting hazards to your supervisor or health and safety representative, or HAZCHEM. This ensures everyone is informed and empowered to stay safe. Before we dive deeper, let's clarify some key abbreviations you'll see throughout this presentation. For example, IA stands for Approved Inspection Authority, HCA is Hazardous Chemical Agents, and MSDS refers to Material Safety Data Sheets. These terms are critical in the context of laws like the Occupational Health and Safety Act, OHS, and the National Environmental Management Act, NEMA. Familiarizing yourself with these will make it easier to follow along as we discuss regulations, responsibilities, and safety practices related to chemicals in the workplace. Dive into the fascinating world of chemicals, where understanding their properties and behaviors is key to managing risks effectively. Chemicals come in various physical forms, which impacts how they're handled and the risks they pose. Solids, like metals or powders, might seem stable but can become hazardous under certain conditions. Liquids, such as water or acids, can spill or react. Gases, like oxygen or hydrogen, can be invisible threats if not contained. Aerosols and vapors, meanwhile, can linger in the air and enter our systems through inhalation. Recognizing these forms helps us anticipate and control their hazards. Chemicals can enter the body through inhalation, absorption, ingestion, injection, or radiation, highlighting the importance of protective measures. Natural chemicals are derived from air, water, plants, and minerals, and can be extracted without altering their chemical composition. Synthetic chemicals, on the other hand, are human-made. They might mimic natural chemicals or be entirely new compounds. A common misconception is that natural is good and synthetic is bad, but that's not true. Both can be toxic. Think of bronze, created by ancient humans combining copper and tin, or modern stainless steel. These are useful, but synthetic chemicals in food or medicine can also pose risks if not managed properly. From preservatives to sweeteners, chemicals play a significant role in our daily lives, but overuse can lead to adverse health effects. Let's zoom in on solid chemicals. Every natural solid, like lead or nickel, is made of chemicals. Lead's harmless until you heat or cut it, releasing toxic dust. Nickel can cause dermatitis on contact. Some solids, like pesticides, even evaporate directly, and others become dangerous when mixed with water or other chemicals, like acid on iron releasing hydrogen gas. Handling solids requires understanding these hidden risks. Liquids are next. Water, made of hydrogen and oxygen, is the most vital liquid chemical. It freezes and boils uniquely. But even boiling water can be a hazardous chemical agent, HCA, in certain contexts. Other liquids can burn skin on contact or release inhalable vapors. The hazard depends on toxicity and exposure time, so proper handling is critical. Gases make up much of our atmosphere. Oxygen and nitrogen dominate the air we breathe, while hydrogen is abundant in the universe. In workplaces, gases can be compressed, dissolved, flammable, or liquefied. Each type poses unique risks, like flammability or pressure hazards, requiring specific controls we'll discuss later. Workplaces often contain gases like acetylene and ammonia, which require strict safety protocols to prevent accidents and health issues. Mixing incompatible chemicals can be disastrous. Acids with cyanides release deadly gas. Flammables with oxidizers can ignite. These reactions might happen intentionally in processes or accidentally due to poor storage. Understanding compatibility is key to preventing fires, explosions, or toxic releases. A practical example: oxyacetylene cylinders, oxygen and acetylene, must be stored separately. Oxygen fuels fires, and acetylene is flammable. Keeping them apart reduces explosion risks. This is a simple but critical rule in workplaces using welding equipment. Chemicals pose two main hazard types: physical, like fires or explosions, and health-related, like organ damage. 5 of the deadliest chemicals are natural, showing nature's power. The risk level depends on properties, toxicity, usage, and environment. Mixing chemicals can create new dangers, so control measures are essential. Chemical hazards are classified into categories like flammable, toxic, and corrosive, each requiring specific safety measures to mitigate risks. Exposure to hazardous chemicals can lead to serious health issues, including allergies, cancer, and respiratory problems, necessitating protective measures. Certain jobs, such as battery charging and welding, have high exposure to hazardous chemicals, requiring stringent safety protocols. In South Africa, chemical safety is governed by laws like the Occupational Health and Safety Act, ensuring a legal framework for protection and compliance. Employers and self-employed individuals must adhere to specific regulations when working with hazardous chemical agents. These include providing information and training, assessing potential exposure, and ensuring medical surveillance. Understanding hazardous chemical agents involves definitions, scope, and essential duties like information and training, air monitoring, and medical surveillance. These elements are crucial for maintaining safety. Further regulations cover maintenance of control measures, classification, labeling, and disposal of hazardous chemical agents. These ensure comprehensive safety and compliance. Employers must comply with laws and standards to protect against hazards from chemical agents. Conducting thorough hazard identification and risk assessments is essential for workplace safety. A HIRA is a vital management tool for identifying and assessing risks from hazardous chemical agents. It helps predict future incidents and determine necessary alerts for employers and communities. Occupational hygiene involves evaluating workplace conditions to prevent illness. Regular assessments by approved authorities are necessary to identify potential exposure and health risks. Employees must attend training, follow instructions, and maintain hygiene to manage hazardous chemical agents effectively. Reporting incidents and undergoing medical monitoring are also crucial responsibilities. Proof of compliance involves maintaining various documents like appointment letters, disposal certificates, and safety checklists. These records are essential for demonstrating adherence to safety regulations. All records related to assessments and surveillance must be archived for decades. This ensures a comprehensive history of compliance and safety measures, even if activities cease. Qualified practitioners must conduct biological monitoring to detect exposure to hazardous substances. This involves planned medical examinations to ensure employee safety and health. Biological monitoring should occur before, during, and after employment. It ensures employees are fit for work and helps prevent occupational diseases by identifying potential health risks early. Employers must establish a management system to address health and safety needs, including risk assessments, chemical storage, and control measures. This system ensures ongoing safety and compliance. The management system should include record-keeping, safe working procedures, and emergency planning. These elements are vital for maintaining a safe and compliant workplace environment. MSDS provide critical safety data for chemicals, including handling instructions and emergency procedures. They are essential for ensuring safe use and response to chemical hazards. MSDS also cover firefighting measures, exposure limits, and chemical properties. This comprehensive information is crucial for managing chemical safety effectively. Accurate MSDS are vital for operators and emergency teams. Regular updates ensure the latest safety information is available, supporting effective hazard management. The PTW system ensures safe execution of hazardous tasks by authorizing and documenting necessary precautions. It is a critical component of workplace safety management. Employers should use a hierarchy of control to mitigate risks from hazardous chemical agents. This involves prioritizing control measures to maintain a safe and healthy workplace. Employers must provide facilities like armories and bunkers to safely store hazardous chemicals. Secondary containment systems are also necessary to prevent leaks and spills. Depending on the substance, employers must ensure safe storage in appropriate containers. This includes using explosion-proof and heat-resistant equipment to meet safety standards. Gas cylinders, including those for oxygen and LPG, are designed for safe use and storage. If transported horizontally, they should be stood upright for at least an hour before use. Regular inspections are mandatory, and details of tests are stamped on the neck. Due to internal pressure, cylinders can explode if exposed to heat or damage. Certain chemicals can react dangerously when combined, causing fire or explosion. For example, mixing acids and alkalis generates heat and fumes. However, some exceptions exist, like oxyacetylene welding equipment, where oxygen and acetylene are used together safely. HCA containers are designed to protect their contents. Always check the manufacturer's MSDS to ensure the correct container is used. Using the wrong container can lead to disastrous consequences. Keep containers sealed to prevent spills and store them properly. Disposing of HCA containers requires strict conditions to prevent exposure or poisoning. Proper disposal ensures safety for secondary users and the environment. Labels provide essential information about the contents, precautions, and emergency steps. They should include the commercial name, concentration, and recommended usage. Reading labels carefully is crucial for safe handling. The SABS accredits SANS, which sets standards for symbolic signs used at work. These symbols help ensure safety by providing clear warnings and instructions. SANS symbols use colors and shapes to convey important safety messages. Understanding these symbols is vital for maintaining a safe working environment. The globally harmonized system provides pictograms for labeling chemicals. These symbols help identify hazards like explosives and flammables, ensuring safe handling and transport. GHS symbols cover a range of hazards, including oxidizing, compressed gas, and toxic substances. Recognizing these symbols is key to preventing accidents and ensuring safety. Different GHS symbols represent various chemical classes, such as explosives and flammable gases. Proper signage on vehicles carrying HCA is essential for safety. GHS symbols categorize chemicals into classes like explosives and flammable gases. Understanding these categories helps in managing risks effectively. Classes 3 and 4 cover flammable liquids and solids. Recognizing these symbols helps in handling substances that may combust spontaneously or emit flammable gases. Symbols for oxidizing substances, organic peroxides, and corrosive materials are crucial for identifying potential dangers and ensuring proper handling. Symbols for infectious substances and radioactive materials highlight the need for careful handling and storage to prevent contamination and exposure. When relabeling HCA containers, ensure the original content and warnings are maintained. Never use a chemical from an unlabeled container to avoid risks. A visual color code system helps identify hazards and risks in multilingual workplaces. It covers various elements like pipelines and equipment, ensuring clear communication. Always be prepared for emergencies and maintain high safety standards. Proper labeling and use of PPE are essential to prevent accidents and ensure a safe environment. Report any incidents immediately and treat spills with care. Use proper equipment and never taste chemicals to identify them. Safety is a priority in handling chemicals. Avoid smoking, eating, or drinking near chemicals. Store and dispose of HCA properly, and wash thoroughly after handling. Prevent contact with incompatible materials to ensure safety. Process safety management is crucial for handling hazards and risks associated with explosives and chemicals. It involves a comprehensive system of procedures, technologies, and practices to ensure safety. Reading all labels, MSDS, and SWPs in advance is essential. The main goal is to prevent uncontrolled discharges and emissions that could pose serious dangers. The core principle of safety in handling explosives and chemicals is to minimize exposure. This means exposing the smallest number of people to the smallest quantity of hazardous materials for the shortest time necessary. When transferring or refueling hazardous substances, it's important to use smaller containers for safety and ease. Always check labels and MSDS to understand the nature of the substances, and keep them in their original containers whenever possible. Never use food or drink containers for hazardous substances. Always wear recommended PPE and be prepared for spills. Ensure you have safety equipment like spill kits and fire extinguishers ready, and clean up thoroughly after handling substances. Decanting involves pouring hazardous chemicals into smaller containers safely. Be aware of fumes and vapors, and ensure both containers are grounded if they're made of conductive materials to prevent static electricity. Avoid ignition sources and label containers clearly when decanting. Use proper ventilation in PPE, and be prepared for spills. Always clean up properly after handling or decanting substances. Employees handling cylinders must be trained and use purpose-built storage. Cylinders should be sorted and stored separately, and care must be taken when moving them. Transportation systems should be appropriate for the task. Vehicles transporting hazardous chemicals must be clearly identified and packed according to regulations. This includes proper labeling and securing of packages, and regular inspections for leaks or damage. Separate incompatible substances and avoid transporting them inside vehicle compartments. Ensure emergency equipment is available, and protect against moisture or heat during transportation. Disposing of hazardous waste must comply with environmental regulations. This includes cleanup, treatment, and recycling of waste. Containers should prevent exposure, and all waste must be handled with care. Vehicles and containers in contact with hazardous waste must be decontaminated. Waste should be disposed of safely, and employees must use appropriate PPE. Contractors must comply with waste disposal standards. All employees handling hazardous chemicals must receive comprehensive training. This includes understanding dangers, safe work procedures, and emergency responses. Regular refresher training is also essential. Employers must provide PPE or PPC to protect workers from exposure. This includes ensuring PPE is clean and fits properly. The type of PPE depends on the level of exposure risk. PPE should cover all parts of the body, from head to toe, including headgear, eye protection, and respiratory equipment. Proper use of PPE is crucial for safety in hazardous environments. Additional PPE includes items like braces, gloves, and protective footwear. Ensuring full body protection is essential to minimize risk when handling hazardous substances. PPE storage facilities must be conveniently located and properly labeled. They should include change rooms and washing facilities, and the cleaning of these facilities should be treated as handling hazardous waste. Contaminated PPE and PPC must be disposed of or cleaned correctly. Compressed air should not be used for cleaning, and only authorized personnel should handle contaminated items. Use labeled containers for contaminated PPE and treat it as hazardous waste. Specialist cleaning contractors should be informed of handling requirements to ensure safety. Respiratory zones require all personnel to take necessary precautions. These zones must be monitored by authorized personnel to ensure safety measures are followed. Emergencies can arise from various hazards like spills, fires, or toxic gas exposure. They can be exacerbated by external events like earthquakes or floods, requiring comprehensive emergency preparedness. Being prepared for any emergency is absolutely crucial. The emergency management team and plans will include essential elements like alarm systems, assembly points, civil defense, communication systems, and more. This comprehensive approach ensures readiness for any situation. Spill kits are specifically designed to handle HCA spills and waste. It's important to appoint a trained spillage controller and cleanup team. The spill kit should be easily accessible and properly handled, with all team members equipped with approved PPE and PPC. A mobile, color-coded, labeled wheelie bin or leak-proof container is necessary for spill kit storage. This ensures proper collection and disposal of waste. The bin should be equipped with essential items like drain guards, spill containment equipment, and recovery tools. Sawdust is not suitable for flammable or oxidizing substances. Used absorbents should be treated as HCA waste, and any parts of the spill kit used must be replaced promptly. Reporting the use of the spill kit to the appropriate personnel is essential for safety. Activating the emergency plan involves clear communication, immediate action to reduce risk, assisting victims with first aid, evacuating the area, and cooperating with emergency services. These steps are vital for effective emergency response. In the event of chemicals in the eyes, call for help and transport to the hospital. Use appropriate PPE and follow MSDS instructions. Flush the eyes with water, remove contact lenses, and cover the eyes with a sterile dressing to prevent further damage. For chemical burns, immediate medical help is crucial. Use risk-specific PPE, rinse the area with water, and carefully remove contaminated clothing. Avoid applying lotions or ointments, and cover the burn with a clean, damp dressing to aid recovery. An eye wash fountain and fast-reacting deluge shower must be available where there's a risk of exposure to hazardous substances. Employees should be trained in their use to ensure quick and effective response to potential injuries. In cases of HCA inhalation, call for help and transport the patient to a hospital. Use risk-specific PPE, follow MSDS instructions, and ensure the patient is in a clean air environment. Treat injuries and shock promptly to stabilize the patient. If the patient is not breathing, perform protected CPR. It's important to be aware that first aiders and rescuers can become secondary victims, so always follow the procedures carefully to ensure everyone's safety.